There are 4 predictions here that you guys got right, and I didn't think any of them were going to be right. Maybe one of them. So listen to this. So the first one, this takes us all the way back to weeks 1 and 2. Trevor from Arvada, Colorado, said Colorado's going to beat TCU and Nebraska to start the season. So they were like a 3-touchdown underdog against TCU, and they go into Fort Worth and beat them. The story of the sport in week 1. And then Nebraska comes to town, and that figured to be a lot more competitive. Colorado beat them too. I put a 9.5 boldness rating on that because of week 1 alone. Winning as a 3-touchdown dog and thinking what I thought about Colorado's offensive line and how much they were going to struggle. They did, by the way. We weren't wrong about that. They were just a lot better out of the gate than I thought they were going to be. So that was right. This is a valid, bold prediction. Hats off. I put a 9.5, 1 to 10 scale, by the way, 9.5 on it. They won their first 3 games. They beat Colorado State as well. The next one is the one I feel best about. And we're going to the Big 12 for this one. Andre from Grove City, Ohio said the Big 12 championship game will not be a rematch from the regular season. What he was basically saying is OU Texas will not have a part 2. We went to the Red River Shootout. It was a classic, and Oklahoma wins at the very end. And everyone left that day saying, oh, don't worry, Texas will get their shot. And Texas did get their shot against a team from Oklahoma. It just was not the Sooners because they didn't make it. And so this was no shock to me, as you guys know. I, and I alone, predicted Texas versus Oklahoma State in the Big 12 championship game. Now, some out there would claim that I backed off that prediction 2 months into the season. Some would even go as far as to say we did an entire segment on the show where I re-predicted things. But is there really any evidence of that? I don't know. I can't remember any evidence of that. And it would be very unprofessional for me to have gone and hidden the video on our channel. That doesn't sound like something I would do at all. So as far as I'm concerned, and here's what I want you guys to write in your journals tonight, I predicted that thing right. Texas, Oklahoma State, the end. Next up, this one was a little more challenging. This was a really creative one, by the way. Tom from Concord, North Carolina said, NC State will have the best record of any Power 5 team in the Carolinas. So can you name them all, by the way? We're talking about Clemson, North Carolina State, South Carolina, Duke, and Wake Forest. I said this was an 8.75 on the boldness scale. So NC State, out of those teams, is going to have the best record. You know what? They ended up having the best record. They ended up tied with Clemson with 9 wins, I think it was, Jesse. Yeah, so they were both 9-4, but NC State won the head-to-head. So that's the tiebreaker in our rule book. So NC State actually did, Tom. They had the most wins of any Power 5 team in the Carolinas. Let's just quickly, for the sake of education, remind you what the preseason totals were. Because you know everyone wants to bet the over in over-under win totals in the preseason. Clemson's over-under was 10. They won 9 games. Under. North Carolina, 8.5 was the preseason total. They won 8 games. Under. NC State was 7 preseason. They won 9. Over. South Carolina was 6.5. They won 5. Under. Duke was 6 preseason. They won 8. Over. Mike Elko gets the A&M job as a result. Wake Forest was 6 in the preseason. 4. Under. 4 out of those 6 teams hit the under. Be careful, kids. Betting those overs is nasty business in the preseason. And lastly, I can't believe this. I had blocked this from my memory. Hoger, classic name, and a classic prediction here. Hoger said Washington becomes the first Pac-12 team since 2014 to make the title game, and unlike TCU, they make it competitive. I don't know how he did it. I put a 9 on this, and candidly, I thought I would have put above a 9 on the boldness scale. Their odds were plus 4,000 to win the national title. I don't know what their odds were to make the title game, but it would have been a very long shot. They were in the mid-teens. If you would have looked at the FanDuel odds in the preseason, Washington would have been mid-teens to win the title. And that's basically them telling you it's not going to happen. And not only did they make it to the title game, they were competitive. Michigan pulled away in the end, but it was a competitive game. That's all I can do. That's why we do bold predictions, so that we can have these kinds of moments. And Hoger, if I were you, I would freeze frame that. I would print it out, and I would hang it up above a mantle in my home or office, or I don't know, wherever you spend the most time. So congrats.